Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Three in the Keystone, episode 47. Even though he never pitched for the Phillies, he pitched an important game in Phillies history. It's the Tom Glavine episode.
No, 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 no,
Why
no.
would you pick a Brave
Who else do you have?
or a
First of all,
Met?
Tom
He's been
Glavine.
both
Tom
rats.
Glavine was the man who put the Phillies in the playoffs in 2007.
Yeah, but I disagree. One of the best basketball nicknames, AK-47, Andre Kirilenko.
Oh,
Kirilenko,
that's a
yep.
good one. That's a
Come
good
on,
one.
this was an easy
Which
one.
would which would have been canceled now if he was still around.
Yeah, he
That would not that name would not stick.
to have that nickname and play in Utah and be Russian. How about that?
That's
Yeah.
a good one. Did
He
you do
defied
that?
all the-
I honestly, I just pulled 47 out of my head, and that was the first. Glavine was the first guy who came to my mind.
Yeah.
But if you guys remember some of our earlier drafts, Saturday was my favorite day of the year. Saturday Memorial Day weekend, boys.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, this is what we were talking about, and here it is.
beautiful weather Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Did it live up to the hype?
Well, I went to Chris's, so the expectations were a little bit lower than usual.
I pretended Casey had work.
Chris hosted us over for a nice barbecue. We had a nice time. Broke some bread, had some drinks, had a nice little time. It was a beautiful fun. Although I played golf in the morning, and I'm taking a hiatus from the game for a little bit.
Oh, I played golf today, and on the 16th hole, I shanked a shot, and I said to myself, "I'm done with this shit. I might not play again the rest of the summer, dude."
So I do have a couple obligations.
That would be the luck. I get out there, and then you guys both stop playing.
Yeah.
I still have some obligations. Like I have a work conference all week. I have to play twice, so I'm still gonna be playing, but I'm just trying to take a break from the amount that I was playing. I gotta get healthy and get it figured out, but we'll get there.
All right. Well,
so we had prepared for segment 1 to go into the Phillies, and we still will, as we haven't talked about them at all this year, and we're a third of the way through the season. But as all great media folks do, we had to swerve a little bit with the breaking news this afternoon that the Philadelphia 76ers have hired former Toronto Raptors head coach Nick Nurse to be the head coach. We talked a little bit about it last week, so I don't want to overdo it, but let's spend at least a few minutes discussing the Nurse hire. Chris, your initial thoughts on the deal?
He was the guy. I mean, I've been saying I wanted either Nurse or Sam Cassell for a while now at this point. Interestingly enough, you don't really hear a lot about Sam Cassell being a candidate for other jobs as much as I thought he would have, but he kind of comes off maybe like as the NBA version of Eric Bieniemy a little bit. Where like we at least, well, who knows? Maybe nationally it's not as much, but here at least we've always thought he could take the reins as the coach. But Nurse has got a pedigree. I mean, he's got a ring. And I mentioned, I think it was last week, about like the knock on him about the player development recently, which I don't know. I mean, I totally disagree with it. Again, I wasn't following him every single game in and game out like the Toronto folks have been. But I mean, the guy's got a 58% winning percentage, 227 and 163 as a head coach, 25 and 16 in the postseason, even more important. And again, with a title also. So I wanted an X and O's guy, which is what we got. I don't need a rah-rah guy anymore. I don't need a player coach. I need a guy that knows what the hell he's doing to get the best out of these guys and to make adjustments pre-game, mid-game, and after games for the next games. And I think Nick Nurse is the best guy for, at least that was available, to fulfill those, to fulfill that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like it was the inevitable hire. It doesn't blow my socks off. I don't hate it. I like it. Nick Nurse is a guy who, years ago we were saying was potentially the best coach in the league. He was up there with the Spoelstras of the world. When I look at his record though, after he won the title, very ho-hum in the playoffs. I mean, 2 appearances in 4 years. Eastern Conference semifinals appearance, first round, knocked out 2 years ago. But what I will say is this: is that when he had the superstar in Kawhi Leonard, he was able to put together a title winning season. Right. And then when he left, that's when kind of things not necessarily fell apart for him and for the Toronto Raptors, but he wasn't able to attain that level of success again. So we have the superstar, we have Joel Embiid. So, given that, all right, I'm with it. Like I'll roll with it. The one thing that I do worry about, and I'd mentioned this before, and I know that a lot of people have been saying is that he relies heavily on his stars. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the Sixers roster that's a little bit on the older side, where over the last 3 seasons he's relied on a Pascal Siakam and a Fred VanVleet, both in the top 6 in minutes per game, each of the last 3 seasons. I don't know. Obviously, Maxey has the wheels to do that. Melton probably as well, but do you really want those two in the top 5 of minutes per game? I don't know. But we'll see. Look, I'm on board. It's not Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge addition by subtraction.
Absolutely.
So we're all back in after a week. We're all back on the Sixers
No,
bandwagon.
no, no, no,
Is
no,
all
no,
it
no,
took?
no, 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 no. No, I think
Making
Al hit
sure.
it right on the head. We all had that same. Well, most of us had that reaction where it's like it's a good move, but I got to see the personnel that we're gonna have. If we still have Harden in here, so I've been hearing mixed things. So some folks have been saying that they believe that that's a sign that Harden's going to stay based on the fact that he does have a little bit of history with Nurse. I believe Nurse was I think he was one of D'Antoni's assistants at one point for a little bit of time at Houston.
You sure about that?
I'm almost positive.
Okay, maybe. I know he was the G League coach.
I mean, I double check. I know he's a G League guy, but I'm almost positive at one point he was on their staff before he. I'll have to double check that, or
I'm
you can
looking it up
double
now.
check it. But also the fact that would a guy like Nurse take a job like this over Milwaukee and over Phoenix if he didn't think he'd have superstars at his disposal like Harden and Embiid?
So he did not coach for Houston.
No.
He didn't coach for. I thought he was on this on.
No, he was an assistant in Toronto before he.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay,
Prior
so he
to
didn't have a
Toronto,
history
he
with
was all-
Harden.
There was no pro league experience prior to Toronto.
Right. So my mistake. So, but yeah, so that's a little bit of a interesting caveat as far as like, because it makes sense. Like he like we just talked about, he has a ring, so he's got a pedigree at this point. He's a made guy in the league now. Why would he sit up there and bow out of Milwaukee's job that he allegedly was right there to win, and then pick the Sixers over Phoenix if he didn't think he'd have a loaded roster to work with? I don't know. I mean, not that Harden has to work in sync with Nurse, but he did mention that the intrigue of working with Embiid, though, specifically, according to Wojnarowski, he said that was one reason. That's one thing that was enticing him to come here. So that tells me that Embiid is definitely going to be back next year, and that whole rumors of trades and this and that can go by the wayside at this point. But they got some making up to do. They weren't buddy at all over the years, Nurse and Embiid. So that's going to be an interesting situation how it plays out.
They
They
shouldn't
did
have
say
been.
that they did meet. Embiid and Nick Nurse did meet prior
Okay.
to hiring and had a conversation.
Okay.
Chris, I would say, as far as Harden goes, the one thing I read online today was the thing that sold Nurse or the Sixers on Nurse was he came in with this exquisite plan on how to build around Joel Embiid and as the central point. And that to me sounds a lot like what Doc Rivers tried to do. And James Harden wasn't happy in that role. So
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm James Harden and I'm looking for change. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm looking to see from a new head coach.
I mean, either way, I think that Harden's going. I'd be shocked if he came back, especially with Nurse being like more of an X and O's coach, and that's going to tell Harden he's not going to be able to get that quote unquote job where he can have his freedom and be able to play him the way he wants to play. Like that's not going to happen with a guy like Nurse, especially when he's trying to build around Joel.
James Harden, you're right, Adam. He is looking for change, but it's not the kind of change you're probably talking about. He's looking for money. He's going to be 34 when the next season starts. He's only got one more of these extensions left in him where he's going to be able to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think he's just going to go wherever the money takes him.
That's very possible as well. But I wanted to get back to the hiring. In my opinion, I think it's a win. I think it's a great call because in my opinion, it has two things. I think it has the highest ceiling where we've seen this guy win a championship. He is an X's and O's coach, which we haven't really had under Doc or Brett. I mean, Brett, I think, tried to pass as an X's and O's guy, but he really wasn't.
Brett's a teacher, but you don't need to. I mean, a lot of these guys, it's hard to teach professional men at things that they think they already know everything about.
Agreed. So I think you're getting that guy in Nurse. I also think it has the lowest floor because I think Nick Nurse has a little bit of a polarizing personality that's not going to necessarily mesh with some of these guys. And if they aren't winning, I think that could blow up. But I don't think that's the worst thing in the world because all that signals is it's time to reboot. And that's where we kind of were 2 weeks ago anyway, where we were saying it's time to reboot this thing. So I think if it goes sour, the worst case scenario is we're trading Joel and bringing in a rebuilding project, which I think we were all open to a few weeks ago anyway.
What do you think about the fact that what was it, last week or a week before that, when Daryl Morey talked and he said that the process would be thorough and not necessarily a rush job, and they wanted to speak to the folks they wanted to speak to. But I feel, I mean, they announced this before the season's even over. I mean, the finals was not even happened yet, and they've already announced the head coach. So it wasn't like it took that much longer to make that decision. What do you guys think about that? As far as, do you think that was kind of smoke and mirrors, or do you think that there's folks that lost interest or for whatever reason, or that Morey lost interest in other candidates? Like,
I just think they were competing against so many other teams to fill that spot. I mean, they had to grab somebody.
I think sometimes when you're interviewing people, when you know, and I think they had all intentions of making this a process with those 6 names. Obviously, they did interview Vogel. They probably interviewed Cassell, I'm sure. That doesn't have to be necessarily announced.
is
But
he back at the, you think?
I think Nurse is given free reign to bring in who he wants to bring
That's
in.
what I'm saying. You think that he would have that, like the courtesy of keeping those? I mean, that was a loaded room. I mean, Yerger, Cassell, like there were some guys that had a lot of NBA experience under their belt that were the players or coaches that were in that coach room.
I think Cassell is back if he wants to be back. You remember when Deuce Staley was passed up for the Eagles head coaching job?
That's my right.
And it was like, you know what, I need to take another step, even if it's a lateral step, in order to kind of move my career along because I'm not next in line at this place. So I think it's 50-50, but I think it's probably more in Sam's boat than.
And that's what I mean, like from a main perspective, like, all right, well, y'all pass me up, forget y'all that, I'm gonna go somewhere else and figure it out.
I don't know if Adrian Griffin and Sam Cassell have any ties, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cassell, maybe if he was going to make a move laterally, went to Milwaukee, a place where obviously he played a lot of ball.
That was a surprising hire.
Yeah,
I think Griffin was close to getting was it Dallas?
I mean, he played for Dallas.
There was last year or 2 years, he was really close to getting one of those jobs. Or maybe I can't remember what it was, but he was like right there, and they kept saying that he was like an up and coming guy that was going to be an NBA coach in like in due time and this and that. Now, obviously, getting his chance, we'll see how it goes. But I think the Suns are going to take Doc.
That's how I was going to say. The Suns have been rumored to take Doc, which is this guy keeps getting jobs, man.
But that's what he wants. I mean, that's right on brand for him to go to a team that's already like it's like going to the market and buying like pre-cooked food. You just put it in the microwave and this like heat it up, you're good. Like that's what he does. Your teams are already made up. You just go in there and do whatever you think you're going to do to it, puts a little seasoning on it, and then call it a day. That's a perfect fit for him, for real, because that's what he's been doing his whole career. He don't know how to build a team.
Absolutely. But I'm ready to move on to, we've talked to so much Sixers over the past few weeks, ready to move baseball. If you guys don't have any closing thoughts on the Nurse deal.
No, I think that was the right pick, and hopefully,
No, I guess the Miami Heat's X-ray technician is still out there, so I don't know if somebody's going to scoop him up.
Maybe they bring him in as an assistant. Let's change our tune. The Philadelphia Phillies, you're defending National League champions. I don't think we've talked about them since we did our season preview before it all started. We are now roughly a third of the way through the season. They are 25-28. Somehow, with that record, they're only 2 games out of the final wild card spot. It's really been a tumultuous season. Starters ERA 5.02, bullpen 4.11. They're 12th in batting average. They're 21st in runs. They're 20th in homers, 18th in stolen bases, 23rd in ERA, 21st in WHIP. Run differential -38. It's the 3rd worst in the NL. They have not lived up to the hype so far.
So I wanted to add real quick. So they were obviously a late blooming team last year also, offensively. And I feel like the numbers all around the league pitching wise are up this year. And I
Correct.
don't know if it's has to do with the new rules. Obviously we know that Nola and Wheeler were two guys that were very adamant against the pitch clock. They're still obviously getting used to it. Wheeler was dealing the other night, so maybe hopefully he's starting to turn the corner. But this wild card situation with these three wild card, like, is that diminishing now? I feel like we're getting to a point where baseball is going close to the NBA where divisions don't matter anymore. Like, it used to be a situation where you had the one wild card spot, your division was so important because of that. Now you got three spots at what, 20, what are we, 25 and 28? What's our record?
25 and 28.
They're right within, reaching the that last wild card spot without even having to be close to the division at this point. And then we know from last year, once you get into the dance, anything can happen.
Right.
So I feel like it kind of diminishes your division at this point versus increasing the competitiveness in it because you don't really need to win it anymore.
Couldn't agree more. And I think one of the points that I was thinking about earlier is we've talked plenty of basketball, we've talked football. Baseball is a sport where if you play a series, the best team does not always win. And you know that because the worst team in baseball wins 40% of their games. Well, maybe not this year with Oakland, but in general, the worst baseball team in the league is going to win 60 games over the course of a season, right? That doesn't happen in any other sport. The Phillies were the 7th best team in the National League last year. 7th out of 15. That's middle of the pack.
Right.
And they got in the tournament and they got hot. So do we overrate this team coming into the year, given the fact that over 162 game stretch, they were middle of the road?
I don't think a lot of people really liked this team though. Nationally, nationally, this team was still picked to finish under the Mets and Braves regularly, and to miss the playoffs by a lot of the national media pundits, so to speak.
But not by you guys. Chris had
no. I Al's right though, because we were on here and we were talking about how that was trash that the national media was not respecting the Phillies, but
right.
I mean, that's why they make the big bucks, I guess. Who are we to say that?
Yeah. It's tough. Dude, it's tough not to be a homer on the podcast. It's hard.
But I feel like I don't think they're overrated because the payroll says otherwise. Like they shouldn't be overrated. I mean,
well, they're underachieving.
But I'm saying like
they should be good.
They're right. Like they're a team that like they should be like obviously they're underperforming right now, but coming into the year saying that we overrated them, I don't think I think they should be where we thought they would be based on the payroll, based on the lineup, based on two aces at the top of the rotation, based on rebuilding the bullpen, all those things. They should be where we thought they were in the 90s for wins. But again, they're a late blooming team. I don't know what it is. It cost Girardi his job last year. Maybe it wasn't him after all. Who knows? But they just seem to have guys who just. I'll give you a quick hot take, real quick. You could keep the Kyle Schwarbers of the world. I'm not saying I don't like the guy. He's done his thing. He led the home run title. Like I get that. But you give me a guy that's consistently a 300 hitter, I'll take that any day of the week over a guy who's going to have 40 home runs and bat 185.
185, 168.
I can't do it, man. Like I get he's got pop. I get that it could come at the right time, and you might win a game 3-2 when he hits a 3-run home. But you give me a guy that can hit consistently 300 year in and year out. I'm signing up for that. I don't care if they only have 5 home runs. Chris, I'm signing up for that.
Wait, what is it? What is the minimum average that you would take from Schwarber if he's going to hit you 45 homers? What does he have to hit to make you happy?
From anybody, you got to get like, and that's easy for me to say. I know baseball is a very tough game, but you got to give me at least 250.
I was going to say 230, 235. If he's hitting 45 homers.
If you're on a championship caliber team, you got to give me 250.
We're basically right now with Kyle Schwarber starting Matt Stairs because this dude is hitting 168 and he can't field for shit. And I get that he's hamstrung right now and he has to play the field because of we have to DH Bryce Harper. But this dude is I'm sick of him too, Guest. I get it. He leads the team in home runs, but like it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. He's killing them.
But it is worth it in the fact that I'm not a huge Schwarber guy either, but the one weakness that this team has offensively is they don't have enough guys to hit the ball over the fence. You look at it, they got no power at third base.
Sometimes they don't have a guy to get a ball, period.
They have no power at third base. Trey Turner is not hitting the ball over the fence at shortstop. They have no power at second base. They have no power at first base. JT is like not a power hitter behind the plate. Center field, they got no power. And the right fielder, he may be having a bounce back here. He can't hit the ball over the fence either.
No.
They got Schwarber and they got Bryce, who is like, God bless him, he came back early. He has not found his power stroke yet.
Well, is this where the team misses Rhys Hoskins too?
Yes, absolutely.
He's still going to bat 232. Like he's not. I need a guy that's going to be a 300 hitter. We don't have. When was the last time
well, guys don't hit 300 as much.
Yeah,
as
guys don't hit 300 anymore.
They've got plenty of average guys. They don't have any pop.
They leave a lot of runners. They leave a lot of runners in scoring position.
They're 12th. They're 12th in batting average. They're 20th in runs.
They're second to last in runners left in scoring position in Major League Baseball. Which I feel like, is that a Philadelphia Phillies thing? I feel like every year that's a bugaboo for this team.
What was it?
Runners left in scoring position.
Oh yeah.
Every year that's a problem for this team.
And no matter who's wearing the shirt,
doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, we could have Griffey, Bonds, Sosa in the middle of the order. They still will find a way to not be able to get a hit.
And listen, with all that said, the bigger problem is the back end of the starting rotation, maybe even the whole rotation. But let's
have a rotation.
Who can you rely upon in out of any of them right now?
If I'm Bailey Falter, I might just retire for the fact that they put Dylan. Who's the guy who pitched last night? Dylan Covey on the mound instead of me. Yeah. That dude. That dude was throwing.
We were talking on Saturday, Seltzer. That was the guy a couple years ago when I was betting heavy on baseball. That dude literally would just spew cash if you bet against him. He was terrible. Like, I think they said his record was at one point, like in the last 5 years, like 6-24 or some crazy. Like, it's ridiculous. I'll pull it up now, actually, because
now he's a Philly. Fantastic.
And they picked him up. Like, I don't know what his deal is, but could they not have like took a flyer on like Bumgardner or like any like? I mean, he's available. He got cut, but at least he's got a pedigree to him. This guy's always been trash.
Yeah, and Walker has not been good. Suarez has obviously only thrown 3 games at this point, but he's been terrible. And your boy Aaron Nola is pulling a Nola season, just been inconsistent as hell, just like he always is.
Yep.
And the other thing too with Covey, he's not a baby. He's 31. This guy is who he is. He's not gonna all of a sudden wake up. And I get it. They just picked him up to eat innings. But damn,
he ain't eating shit.
There's got to be somebody else out there.
2 outs last night.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody out there that can eat more innings and be more constructive and give them something than that.
It doesn't have to be somebody on the street. Somebody on your AAA team's got to be able to do that.
Somebody. I mean, Christopher Sanchez or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, where's Christopher Sanchez?
I know he had an injury at one point. I don't know if he ever came back or not, to be honest. But 5-year career, Dylan Covey is 6-30 with a 6.6 ERA. How is he in the major leagues?
That's like that Nathan Peterman dude in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, somehow he's still in the NFL.
Matt Barkley. These guys will still have jobs. This guy is 6-30. He was 5-14 in 2018. The year I was talking about. He was 5-14 with a 5.18 ERA. And he gave up 129 hits in 121 and 2/3 innings. He only had 91 strikeouts.
Yeah,
52 walks.
So when is it going to be Mick Abel time? When's it going to be Griff McGarry time? Obviously, Painter is hurt.
It could be Scruff McGruff time. I don't care anything over this dude. This guy's terrible. He's never had an ERA under 5.
It's not looking pretty. But I did want to get into, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to go to the superlatives tonight. And I gave you guys a bunch of different categories to look into and pick some names. You guys want to start positive or negative?
Just start with the worst category and then go to the best.
Like worst as far as like players, or okay, let's go with biggest surprise.
Chris, you want to start?
Yeah, my man. Hey, Nicky Betts. Nicky Betts is he had a bounce back. He's still, like you said, Silter, he's still not hitting the ball over the fence. But at least he's hitting the ball. Now, the last few games, he's kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit. He's starting to reach again for those sliders and those outside pitches. But I mean, right now when he's up to bat, I kind of trust him.
Oh, I don't.
I kind of
Oh, I
trust him
do.
this
I know
year.
he's had a nice year, but I have zero trust in that guy.
Really? I mean, over who would you take over him right now?
A lot of guys, honestly. I don't have trust in him. I see him flailing at those pitches. And I like I said, I know he's had a good year, but to me the biggest surprise has been Stott. And I've been a Stott guy
Well,
since day one, but
once
he's
upon a
almost at
time,
300. What?
I say once upon a time after the season ended, and I said he should bat leadoff this year, and
Absolutely. And
that
I
was
had him.
greeted with a little bit of eh.
You were. And I always thought he was going to. Well, no, we talked last year in the playoffs. I just didn't think it was fair to put him in that spot. I thought he'd be a leadoff hitter down the road. After they got Trey Turner, I thought he'd probably be in the 2 hole. When they put him in the leadoff spot, he's almost hitting 300. Even with a position change, when he's up to bat, he always seems to be putting the ball in play.
He's got an it to him. Like I think he's gonna be an all-star. I don't know about this year, but I'm saying he's gonna be an all-star caliber guy.
Or win a batting title. Like
I could see that. Yeah, he's got an it
that good of
factor
a
to him.
hitter. With that said, I just didn't think there was a lot of surprises on this team. There really hasn't been a guy who's just been wow, like I didn't see that coming out of nowhere. Really just haven't seen it. So Stott was almost by default for me.
I also have Stott, and it's because for Castellanos, I don't want to say I expected him to be the best hitter on the team this season come June, but when we signed him, I expected that. So now that he's in his second year, and he said he's feeling more comfortable. He said a quote the other day was, I would say time is number one. As much as I want to be 100% comfortable in my surroundings immediately at all times, I struggle with that, but I feel good now. So I think that we talked about this. It did take him a little bit of time to get adjusted to moving to a new city, playing for a new team, and all the things that come along with it. But I don't think he's the most surprising. I do think Bryson Stott's ahead of schedule where we thought he might get to. So I would say Stott's the most surprising, but I'm with you, Adam. There wasn't much to pick from here.
You could also look at it. I mean, if you look at it as glass half empty, it surprise some of those guys in that rotation.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, as far as negative.
Yeah. Negative.
No,
surprise.
that's fair. That's
even the bullpen. I mean, even like I thought Dominguez would have a little bit of a better start than he did.
I mean, I was looking at his game log though. I think his last 13 outings, he's only allowed one run.
I would say he's been okay, but I still I don't want to cut your.
Yeah, let's go to most likely to let you down in a big spot. I've got so many names. It was hard to narrow one down here. I'm going with Aaron Nola. I've always been a non-Nola guy for a long period of time because I think when he's on his game, he's an ace. He can have those starts where he goes 8 innings, 12 Ks, gives up 1 run. But when he's on the mound, you just don't seem to know what you're going to get. And he's always been a pitcher that analytics guys love because of his strikeout to walk ratio, his whip. And this year, his analytics are down. He has not been an analytic guy. Here's his strikeouts per 9 innings the last 4 years. 4 years ago, he was 10.2. The year after that, he was 12.1. Last year, the year before that, he was 11.1. Last year, he was 10.3. This year, he's down to 7.9 strikeouts per 9.
So that tells me he's clearly affected by something externally that's not whether it's the pressure of the contract looming or the pitch clock or whatever he's letting get to his head. That's not him.
Right. His walk or his home run rate has almost doubled. So he's given up twice as many homers as he did last year. And his walks per 9 are up from 1.3, which led the league last year, to 2 walks per 9 innings. So what that's telling me is the guy that we're seeing right now may be the guy that we're getting all year because those peripheral stats indicate that he's a below average pitcher right now in the major leagues.
You know, he reminds me of Cole Hamels in 2009. And if you remember, Cole Hamels did not have a good year that year for his standards. And he had that famous quote of saying that he couldn't wait for the year to be over. You remember that? And it makes me feel like a similar situation. He went all the way to the World Series. He had a lot of innings under his belt that year, just like Nola had this past year going into the season. And maybe there's something to that too. But have we seen Joel Embiid and Aaron Nola in the same place at the same time? Maybe they go to the same church or something. I don't know.
Chris, the difference between Hamels and Nola is Nola's numbers this year are very similar to his numbers in 2021. So he's had multiple years recently where he's pitched like this. And last year seems to be maybe the outlier in recent years. I know he's had some very good years in 18 and 19 in that regard, but he
What was
has
his
shown
numbers in 20 again?
in 21, you mean?
Yeah, well, because 20 was the COVID.
Yeah, I don't think we count the COVID year.
I was gonna say because I was gonna say I don't want to count.
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
21. Well, 21.
2021.
4.63 ERA.
What'd you have, Matt?
A 4.63 ERA.
4.63 ERA. He had 223 strikeouts that year, so he had a lot of strikeouts. But he gave up 26 home runs, which was a home run rate very similar to where he was at right now. He was, what's his record? 9-9, which obviously doesn't mean a ton. 180 innings. His WHIP was 1.12, which was higher than it's been the last 4 years, but same as it is this year.
Well, you know who is doesn't have a problem with Aaron Nola's season?
Elon Musk.
Well, aside from Elon Musk, his homie John Middleton.
Right.
He doesn't have a problem with Nola's season.
And Dave Dombrowski.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yep. Dombrowski's licking his chops.
The bag is being fumbled every day.
But who would you guys have as most likely to let you down in a big spot?
I don't know. Pick anyone. Pick anyone. I'm looking
at bag.
Looking at their pictures right now. Pick any of these guys. I mean, it's got to be the guy that I just talked about for the last award, Nick Castellanos. It's got to be him because he's having a pretty good season. So he's going to be in that spot. Yeah, he's going to drag you in, pull you in, and trick you into thinking, oh, he's got it. And then big strikeout from a slider that's low and away in the dirt.
We're like 2 for 23 in a playoff series.
Well, that's how I feel about like Schwarber to me. Schwarber's my guy that I would put in there. Like I mean, he had a big home run. What was it last Saturday with the grand slam against the Cubs? But like, again, he strikes out a ton. He doesn't get. Not that he strike out a lot, but he doesn't get. It's like he's like a glorified softball hitter. Like he's a home run, or he strikes out.
He's Matt Stairs, dude. He is Matt Stairs.
Yeah, and I would actually love to compare their career numbers because you might be onto something with that comparison. Yeah, I can't trust him in a spot at the plate because he strikes out so many. Like I hate when people say, "Oh, well, a strikeout's still an out." It's not. Like there's times when a strikeout kills a rally.
Yep.
Like you can have a constructive, productive out. Strikeout is never a productive out.
Unless you're not hitting it in a double play.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Can I give you a Castellano stat? 206 games as a Philly, including the playoffs last year. 18 home runs.
Yeah, man.
206 games. What happened to the power?
And he was playing in.
Since he
is a well-known hitter's bark. So just like this park is, it's not like he's going to play at San Francisco all of a sudden he can't hit home runs. Like they're both hitting friendly ballparks.
Right. And Detroit, where he was before that, was not a hitting friendly ballpark, and he still hit homers.
Right.
Can I mention one name that'll absolutely let us down at some point in a big game? Craig Kimbrell.
I didn't want to say it, but I don't trust them either.
What makes you say that?
I just don't have. I mean, listen, every closer is going to blow games. You can't be perfect. Nobody's Lidge from 2008. The guy gives up too many homers for me.
Yeah.
In big spots. I'd rather see. I've always been on the Dominguez train. I know he had a rough start to the season. He's got to earn his way back in. Obviously, Alvarado's the best guy in that bullpen when he's healthy, and hopefully he'll be back soon. But I'd rather have either of those guys closing games over Craig Kimbrell. I don't mind him pitching, but as far as closing, I'd rather have Alvarado or Dominguez close.
And we talked about this before, Seltzer, with Rob Thompson. Like, what is so hard? I don't know if it's him or if it's these sabermetrics guys, whatever. Like, why can't you just pick a closer? why is this always situational, this, situational, that? Just have a guy that comes in the ninth inning, that's his job. I know obviously it would be Alvarado, but even when before he was hurt, he had like a sub 1 ERA, and he still was coming in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning. Let's just let somebody be the closer.
It just it feels like he's coaching every game like it's a playoff game.
Right. Like, just settle in on a roll with these guys.
Right. And if
you got like 5 dudes that can close. So like they all can't do it. Like they all can't be the closer.
And it settles them down mentally in the bullpen. It's like, I know what inning I'm coming in tonight.
Right. Your boy Soto's been all right lately.
Yeah, you know what? He's been better than I thought. His numbers don't look great, but that's because he's had 2 or 3 outings where he's just gotten destroyed. Similar to Dominguez, but he's been better than I thought. I'll give him tip my cap to him.
He had to get a little settled in. That's all. He had to get his feet wet.
Absolutely. All right, most likely to turn it around. I think you guys are going to have the same guy. I have somebody different. Why don't you go first on this one?
Hold on, I'm still looking at Matt Stairs' stats. give me.
While you're looking at Matt Stairs' stats, I actually have Kyle Schwarber as my most likely to turn it around.
Why is he going to? Based on what history?
So listen.
Besides him being a lights out guy in June,
dude, he's hit under
part of that. First of all, he's not an average hitter. He's not going to hit for average. It's not who he is. But he's not 168. He's not 168.
Seltzer, he's
I'm going to trust the batting card and trust that this guy is going to get back to 230. That means he's going to have to hit 260 or 265 the rest of the way to get there. He hit 22 homers between June and July last year. He almost hit 2 homers last night. He obviously hit the one, and then he was robbed of a second one. I just think that, again, he's not an average hitter, but he's not that bad of what we've seen so far. So I think he ends up getting hot in June and July, as he's done in the past, and turns it around to help get those stats back in line with the career averages.
So, but what is that? 200? What are you like?
No, I'm saying, I think he can get his average back up to 220 by the end of the year, which means from here on out, he's hitting 260.
Which is his career average, 229. He's had
that's what I'm saying. Like
last year, he hit 218. He's hit 188 on the year before. He's hit
how many at bats in 188?
Well, that was the COVID year.
Yeah, he
still that's almost half a regular season. He couldn't hit anything.
Just about the same amount of games as we played so far.
And here's the thing too: last year was an outlier for home runs. I mean, 46. Do you think we're going to get to that number again this year?
What's he got now? 14?
13.
13, so he's on pace for 40. No, I think he can get to 40. I don't think he gets in the high 40s.
And another thing, too, I don't like about Schwarber is at first it was because he was batting leadoff, which is a complete travesty of strategy in baseball. I still don't understand how anybody could think that makes sense. But now that he's not batting leadoff and he's batting in the middle of the lineup, he's still not getting RBIs.
Well, that's because the guys in front of him ain't really getting on base enough.
Can you imagine having 46 home runs for a season and having 94 RBI that season?
It's so weird.
He hit leadoff.
Like, but even now, he's only got 27 RBIs.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Like he's on pace. He's on pace right now for like the same amount, around 90 RBIs, and what 30 something. Like, I mean, so the ratio will be a little bit better as of right now. But again, he doesn't do anything but hit home runs or strike out.
Right. So I agree. He leaves a lot on the table, but you're criticizing him for RBIs when he hit second for most of the year, and the guy who was hitting first couldn't get on base. Dude, so go ahead and tell me why. Go ahead and tell me why Trey Turner is the guy you expect to turn it around.
Well, I was going to say, because unlike your theory, history has shown that Trey Turner, what Trey Turner is all about. And this is definitely an outlying season for him. He's going through a lot of what Harper went through his first year here. He's going through a lot of what Nick Castellanos went through his first year here last year. I think that this city, for some folks, could be an acquired taste. It also has a lot of pressure to it. These guys, like Turner was in DC, okay? He went to LA. So like the Dodgers were a great organization. They were a competitive organization. They're a winning organization. But the pressure is, like, to me, Philly, New York, Boston. Those three are going to turn men into boys or boys into men, depending on who the person is. And right now, those guys have shown that they need a little bit of a time to get used to that. And I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself this year. And I think that the more he's here, he's going to ease up and get his rhythm going.
His numbers are just so far below the mean. They're so far below it. We've never seen numbers like this from him in his career.
No.
There has to be. I'm a big regression to the mean or progression to the mean guy, and he has to progress to the mean. He's 50 points under what he hit last year batting average wise.
But
he's not going to hit 240 for the season.
I
got 15 RBIs.
Yeah,
I agree. But let me tell you this, and this was a question I asked you guys when they signed him, and I didn't really think it would come up. I was more looking for fodder. His numbers year over year, 2021 to 2022 was a monster dip. They were still great numbers, but in 2021, what did he drop in batting average? 25 points?
Well, let me see.
From 21 to 22, you're saying?
Yes.
In 20 he hit 335, then he hit 328, then he hit 298.
Yeah, he went from 328 to 298. I mean, that's still
his home runs went up, his RBIs went up.
Oh wait,
no, wait. I'm sorry. I was looking.
That's you're not looking at the combined stats.
Yeah, that's my mistake.
No, combined in 21, he bat 328
with 28 homers, and then last year he hit 298. So his average, again, still good, but dropped 30 points and 7 home run difference.
But he still had 100 RBIs. He had 23 more RBIs than the year before.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, I understand, but he also was playing for a full year with the Dodgers as opposed to playing half a year with the Nationals.
I'll take 298 again. A guy
that me too. But I'm saying
is way more valuable to me than a guy that's going to hit 40 home runs and have 45 RBIs batting 185.
But I agree with you. And what I'm saying is that there's a decline. And if you look at OPS plus, which again, this is an analytics stat, 100% is base or 100 is basically an average hitter.
Right.
But you look at his numbers went from 162 to 145 down to 124. So, is there a concern that this guy is on the decline? Again, it's not this steep. There's no way it's this steep of a drop off. But
no, because his career is still 120 at OPS plus.
But I'm talking about. But this year he's under 100. He's under 100 this year. And can I say one other thing? His defense is not very good.
Oh, yeah, dude, this is come on.
I'm still in on Turner. I'm not 100% sure he bounces back this year. You mentioned Harper. You mentioned Castellanos. Took them a full year.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
I think that, he's too good of a player skill-wise, and his numbers historically are too good for him to all of a sudden just fall off a cliff and just forget how to play baseball in this uniform.
He's not running either.
I saw I think it was MLB Network the other night. They were talking about the Phillies, and apparently, again, not watching him this close before throughout the season, but he's also been known to have slow starts and have big second halves. So maybe that's going to be, what he does here. That's the main reason why I have him as my bounce back guy, because apparently from what I've heard, he is a guy who does have historically good second halves and first halves. But again, he's not these numbers are so pedestrian that he's got right now. That's just not him. And I'm not saying I don't we just expect more and need more out of Schwarber. I'm not saying that the guy can't play baseball. I'm not trying to have that as my my argument. I'm just saying, if you're that pop you have, and if you're a middle of the lineup guy, you've got to give me more than that. Just plain and simple. You got to give me more. You got to give this team more than that.
I hear you. My only argument is RBIs are very much connected to whether or not the guys in front of you are getting on base. You can't drive in guys that aren't on base.
That's true too. No, that's true. But even if you start rallies and get on base yourself, he doesn't do that.
No, I understand. He has not been good either.
I'd rather have him, even if his home runs drop by 10 or 12 and his RBIs went up by 15 to 20. I would take that. I don't, the whole pop thing of him with the home run, that doesn't do anything for me. I need production all across the board.
Well, it doesn't do anything when you're, sitting at 25 and 28, fourth place in your division. It's a lot different story if you know what I mean. We're leading the NL East and we're riding a wave of success.
I
Absolutely.
mean, what other guy in the league is like that? Like, the only guy I off the top of my head, the only guy I could think of that was like that was Chris Davis, and he's out of baseball.
And Russell Branyan, feast or famine, Russell Branyan.
Oh, Russell Brand, Jesus, Al.
Yeah, no, there's a
Is he on
couple
the
guys.
Phillies at one point?
Yeah,
I thought
Yeah,
so. He's
he
one of
was a
those
big
guys
homer
I
for
talked about a
them.
while back, like where I hear a name and I'm like, I think he played for us, but I can't. I'm not 100% sure. Like it was like those dark days.
Towards the end of like Jason Giambi's career, he almost became one of those guys too.
I think Swisher was down there for a while. At one point,
Yeah,
um, yeah, like I can't. I don't like those kind of players, man. I just don't.
I'm not a huge fan either. And think about it this way: imagine Ryan Howard would get crap when he was hitting 240.
yep.
Well, and you know, it's funny you said that because back in the day, I was not a big Howard guy
I
because
always
of the
liked
same
Howard.
reasons. The strikeouts, the fielding sucked, all that. But he would come up and he would deliver a lot more than he wouldn't deliver.
In
And even
big
at
spots.
240, like for Schwarber, I would sign up for 240 in a minute.
Yeah, Howard before he got hurt was underrated in this city and undervalued in this city. After he got hurt, he was just toast.
He just had such a short blast of production over a career. It hurt him that he didn't do that over a decade or 12 years. He did it in like really like most of his damage in what, like 5, 6
Yeah, from
years.
like 05 through I guess 2011.
He's like the Brandon Roy of baseball.
Yeah, he'd come up to bat, and it would literally be you could say, is he going to hit a home run or anything else? It felt like 50% of the time he hit a home run. Obviously, that it wasn't the case, but that's what it felt like.
I mean,
But even if he like the one thing about Howard was he could, even if he struck out a lot, when he didn't strike out and if he didn't home or whatever, but he would still mash like the ball, like his off the bat, like he rarely hit a ball like a dud. Like he always was hitting the ball hard somewhere. And we talked about it before. That shift rule, if it wasn't for that shift, he might have hit 20, 25 more points higher on his batting average over his career.
real quick on Howard before we get back to this year's team. From 06 to 09, 06, 58 homers, 149 RBIs. 07,
MVP.
47 homers, 136 RBIs. 08, 48 homers, 146, and in 09, 45, 141. Like those numbers are
It's
great.
hard to find 4 better years in a non-steroid era than that.
And batting averages 313, 268, 251, 279.
Yeah. But he struck out 200 times.
Chris, you talked about Howard never hitting like a crappy, just like can of corn fly ball. It always makes you think of the Joey Votto stat
Yeah.
where he had like nearly 7,000 plate appearances and never popped up in the infield.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he did it though. Did he do it?
He finally did it, which is when
Yeah.
the stat like came up that he had never done it before. But it took nearly 7,000 plate appearances for it to happen.
That dude's
He's a weird dude.
Is he still playing? I feel like I haven't
I think
seen
he's
him.
on. I think he's still on Cincinnati.
He must have some. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but he never wanted to go anywhere to like compete or anything. He's just comfortable in Cincinnati doing his thing, being a villain when he goes on the road to the kids.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
They're usually nice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's touch on these last two quickly. Disappointment. I had Trey Turner. I already said my piece. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say other than he's been a disappointment so far. What do you guys have for disappointment?
Same.
Yeah, it's got to be Trey Turner, dude.
Okay, so we're all on the same page. Let's go to MVP. I have an interesting one, but I'll let you guys go first. Who's your MVP of the team so far this year?
God, dude, this is hard.
It is hard.
Because I feel like the games that I've watched, like I've seen so many guys not come up big in spots where like they've had the chance to potentially come up big. And this guy is one of them. And I can't even say this guy's MVP. And I'll tell you who I was going to say. I'll say that the MVP is Stott. And for kind of the reasons we talked about earlier, that he feels like he's ahead of schedule with where we needed him and wanted him to be. He's probably our best player defensively, which isn't saying much on this team. But he's reliable and he's getting the job done. I got nothing. I don't know, dude. I don't know. This team stinks.
I mean, I was going to say, like, if it's not Stott right now, maybe Bohm. I mean, Bohm's almost got 40 ribbies. He's batting like around 270. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say
Dude, it's tough. So, like, is this team good? We can't
I
even
wouldn't
find a
say
guy
that
who's producing.
I wouldn't say that they stink, but they're just not. It hasn't clicked yet, and it's hard to really put an MVP after what is it, the third of the year at this point, or a quarter?
Yeah.
What,
And for a
About
team
third.
that's 3 games under 500, how do you pick an MVP? They obviously haven't been playing well.
right? There's
What's the
obviously
most valuable like crap player?
prettiest pig in the barn is what we're trying to pick. This point.
I put Bryce Harper.
He's
The
got
fact
like
that
6
he,
RBIs.
the fact that
He's played
the fact that he came back as quickly as
well.
he did from that surgery
Yeah,
and has realistically produced. I mean, I think he's hitting in the 330s.
Yeah.
And the way that guy plays, like I just again I couldn't pick anybody else, so I went that way.
I was gonna say you could always pick him because he's always going to be that kind of guy, but it's kind of a lazy pick, Seltzer. I'll be honest with you.
There was no other options.
I do look, and Bryce Harper he's the man. I need him to give us a little bit more though, because if he's going to be sucking up that DH role every game, he's got to give us a little bit more if we have to suffer through Schwarber and Castellanos in the field.
And that's the same exact. I'm glad you said that, Al, because Seltzer during the basketball season, and we would get in arguments because I would say how Embiid was doing this and that, and you'd say, well, if he had 35 and we still lose, and that means he needs to get 45. He's going to do enough. And it's like ludicrous to me that we would talk about that versus how everyone else around him needs to do better. Same with Harper. Like you can't really expect him to sit there and have to get 115, 125 RBIs a season because the Schwarbers of the world or whoever, Realmuto, wherever the case may be at that time that's in the middle lineup is just not getting the production that you need him to have.
Right. I mean,
That's not his fault.
Again, I understand but RBIs are a stat that's again skewed on who's getting on base, and Trey Turner has an on base percentage under 300 right now, so he's not getting on base for Bryce to knock in. And I mean, Stott has to a decent degree, but I think over the last few weeks he's struggled since Bryce has been back. I think Bryce has been the best hitter since he came back in the lineup. I don't think you can argue that.
Oh yeah, but I mean the sample size is just not enough for me to say he's.
I understand. There was just no other options. You guys fought through it as well. I considered Bohm. Bohm was probably my other choice, but there was nowhere else to go.
He's slowly but surely getting a little bit more pop in his bat. He's not. I don't know if he'll ever be a consistent 25 home run guy, but he might get you to 20.
If he can get me to 20 with 30 doubles, 35 doubles,
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
I wish he would hit him a little higher in the lineup. I didn't understand. I went to the game the other day. He had Cody Clemens hitting above him.
Yeah, well, that's because again, I'm not crazy about Thompson's
Topper.
logic with stuff.
You know how I feel about Topper.
That's his boy.
Yeah.
I thought about JT only because Realmuto just seems like the glue guy of the team. Like he just seems like he keeps everybody together.
I think Schwarber's the locker room guy.
Well, also because of the fact, Al, that I mean, Realmuto is still the best catcher in the league. That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So to have the best of anything in baseball on your team is very valuable.
Well, let's hope that they start to turn it around. They just managed to split with the Braves despite starting Dylan Covey last night. They will now take the Mets on for 3 games this weekend, or not this weekend, this week. One rant I want to say. Every baseball team should play on Memorial Day, and there should be day games.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's absurd that the Phillies are not playing today.
It's a missed opportunity. I mean,
It is a
100%.
missed opportunity.
They stink at marketing their product. What can we expect at this point?
Well, hopefully somewhere Dylan Covey's throwing home run derby to kids because they'll be all having a good time.
I agree with that.
He can't make another start, can he?
I sure as hell hope not.
I mean, there's got to be somebody else somewhere that we can. I mean, I don't even care who it is.
You gotta check the minor league. I've read McGarry was pitching decent.
I was just say, get somebody up here.
Or again, maybe I guess Christopher Sanchez must be hurt because he would be the option.
He can't be. Those guys can't be worse than Covey. Like you can't. There's nobody. What does he do that justifies him being a major league pitcher? Like, what's his strength? Where like a scout says, "Well, he's got elite major league." Like, what does he have? Guy has an ERA above 1,000. Like he's literally 24 games under 500 for his career as a starting pitcher. Who does that? Like I've seen relievers that have like crazy win-loss records because we all know like that stat can be a little bit skewed sometimes. But as a starter, being 24 games under 500 is not a skewed stat.
I'm not seeing any stats for Christopher Sanchez. He did make one start this year, so
He was hurt earlier though, so he
Yeah,
may
no, in the spring he was hurt.
he may very well still not be right, or maybe he got regressed or whatever. I'm not sure.
But listen, they're still in the mix. There's a lot of season left to be played, but this team's going to have to show some signs of life now as we hit June and July, moving towards the All-Star break. But we'll definitely be talking some Phillies, hopefully, I guess, as they continue to march towards what will hopefully be a second straight playoff season. But speaking of playoffs, boys, we sat here on the podcast last week and we counted out the Boston Celtics. Now, here we are on the verge of history, and we are going to discuss that and more in segment 2. We'll be right back. Welcome back to segment 2, and we're recording this. Actually, the second half of Heat Celtics has just started. Heat actually up 11 at the half on the, make it 14 now on the Boston Celtics. But this series, we left it for dead last week. It was 3-0 Miami. They had just basically stolen the soul of Boston in game 3 with a blowout victory. And here come the Boston Celtics winning 3 straight great games, including that game the other night was fantastic.
An all-timer.
So what do you got? What do you got? 20G? That 3-pointer to make it a 14-point lead on my TV was like a minute after you said that.
Yo, when
You're streaming though, aren't you?
I'm on I got the Amazon, the Fire Stick.
Yeah, I'm still on cable.
When you guys are when we're texting each other during games, there's a reason why I don't say much. It's because Seltzer, you're a solid like 45 seconds ahead of me.
Really?
Yeah, you are really.
So you guys are you're streamer too.
Yeah.
Well, I stream downstairs, but upstairs in the living room I have cable still. I have Xfinity.
Gotcha.
But the bedroom and downstairs I have the Fire Stick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't.
But yeah, it was like a good minute.
I don't want to lose the text.
If the Boston Celtics win this game, is this more of a Miami collapse or is this a Boston success story, comeback story?
It's got to be a collapse. You're up 3 games to none. You got to win one more.
Yeah, no one's ever done that. Else. Yeah, but I will say they're an 8 seed still, even though they're underseeded. But
can't play that game.
No, I'm with Chris.
You can't play that game. You're up 3 games to none. You need to win one more game.
Yes, you're right about that. But this was a series. This was a series that was ripe for this to happen. If I asked you the best 8 players in this series were 6 from Boston, Boston's the better team.
No, without question. And a lot of people thought that maybe they could sweep the Heat, and in theory, they still could, just 3 games late. That's what, like, after game 5, I'm sorry, during game 5, I felt like I was like, these guys might be able to make a run at this only because they're that much better, at least on paper, than the Heat.
They are.
Then again, everybody's been and all the Heat's done is gotten to this point. So I don't know, man.
This was more about Boston getting their shit together, in my opinion, than it was Miami gagging it up.
They shot piss poor the first 3 games.
Boston.
Yeah. From 3, game 1, 34.5%, game 2, 28%, game 3, 26%. They shot under 40% from the floor in game 3.
We look at Boston so highly because they own this. Well, this year they didn't own them as much, but they've had such good success against the Sixers. But they've got this is another home game, another game they're supposed to win where they're on the ropes. They have not been good at home in these playoffs at all this year. And it's coming. I mean, we'll see if it bites them at the end of this one, but like they've got issues too. And
I think Denver's the team to beat. I don't think
what.
Yeah, from day one of the playoffs,
go into Denver and win the series.
From day one, telling you, it was clear that Denver was the best team in this playoff.
I'm telling you, if Miami makes it, they're going to win the championship.
I can't see that happening.
Miami's the grit and the heart of Miami. I think it's again, they're an 8. Like they shouldn't be doing any of this, and all they keep doing is beating who's in front of them.
I understand, but they
You thought
almost,
Milwaukee was better than Denver, and they beat Milwaukee.
but Denver has also been a team that has looked like it's at its peak performance, and
Well, they've also had 9 days off now, or they will
that's
have
true.
9 days
But
off.
and that could be a game one issue, but I don't know if that's an overall series issue. Look, at the end of the day, who's guarding Nikola Jokic?
I mean, Bam's a great defensive center. The
Yeah,
problem
he
with
is, but
Bam is
he's
he disappears
undersized.
offensively in the playoffs.
But he's undersized.
He is, but
He's
you don't
more
need to
of a
be.
like
You don't,
Bam's strength defensively is more that he could switch onto any sort of defender and guard perimeter guys as well as big men. And like I'm not trying to disrespect him, but I just don't think he has the girth to defend the big fella.
Right, I know. Well, wait a minute. You didn't mention Miami has the perfect dude to defend Nikola Jokic. They have Nikola Jovic.
yeah, I'm gonna say
They have the mirror match.
That's true. That's true.
You throw him out there for 12 minutes, and you throw OG Haslam out there and just have him throw.
Haslam make it. His ass is a foot in the friggin' I don't even know what in Miami down there.
Coach Bo's gonna have to get creative, guest.
Listen, speaking of Spoelstra, I can't tell you how much I love that they booked their flight for Denver before this game.
Yeah.
That is such a mind game that is perfect for his team and also is going to psych out the Celtics. And right now, it looks like it's working.
But like, why? Like, I don't like. Of course, they had a flight packed for Denver. What else would they do?
Because you know what? Because they could be flying home is where they could be flying to. What do you mean?
When does the final start?
I think Wednesday or Thursday. One of them.
What day is it?
I don't know. I have to double check it because it's weird because it's a final, so they want all the TV time and all that.
Game one's Thursday.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the ramifications either way, but I want to first that the end of Game 6 the other night. That play,
unbelievable.
I texted you guys. I said, and we rag on the Sixers all the time. If that was the Sixers, whoever was in that Derek White role would have been standing at the 3-point line with his hands in his pants.
Yeah.
Doing absolutely
Tobias. It would have been Tobias, not near the net. That's
right.
exactly what would have happened. And we'd all been saying, why is Tobias not crashing? Because
he would have fumbled the ball.
And for that ball to bounce the way it did, and to be honest with you, Tatum was right there for another rebound if the ball bounced on the other side. Yep. I mean, that was just, and credit to this Miami team because that could have been an all-time, like, let's go and roll over in Game 7. And regardless of whatever happens tonight, they have not rolled over by any means.
But guys, this is what I was talking about before with coaching and importance of coaching and why I didn't and don't have any time for Rivers. That move by Spoelstra, those kind of mind games where he's showing his team how much he believes in them, and while also at the same time trying to tell Boston, like, we don't think you guys are going to be able to beat us 4 in a row, is like, that's the kind of motivation I'm talking about that you need in the NBA with a head coach.
Whoa. Don't you remember before Game 7, the Sixers came out and they whined about the refereeing from Game 6. They said there was 13 missed calls. You don't consider that in the same type of same
no
moment?
You think Rivers would have sat there and told them guys, hey, we're gonna fly back to Philly for Game 1 next week? No, he ain't doing that.
Hey, we booked our tickets to Denver.
Yeah, they booked their ticket to Disneyland is what they booked it to.
Like, Doc, we got Miami next, dude.
That's exactly what. And that separates the great coaches in this league. That's why Spoelstra is the best coach right now in the NBA.
Chris, don't leave out what Spoelstra said right after the loss too. The first thing he said was, "Let's tip it off right now. Let's play Game 7 right now. We're ready."
Yep.
Like, love that.
And that's the total opposite of what the Sixers had. When the Sixers lost Game 6, not only did the fans leave dejected that game, but the players and even Doc looked like he was like, "Oh man, like we blew it." And there was no sense of motivating anybody. It was like, all right, we got to get back on the flight and go back to Boston. And that was it. And they played that second half like they had already blew their load. And that was the best they were going to give anybody in that first half. And after that, it was done.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. You got, that's why Phil Jackson was so good. He is a motivator and someone that can get in these guys' heads, either his own team or in a negative way, their opponent. You got to be able to do that. And Nick Nurse even has done that in the past. I mean, we've seen what they did against Joel in the past in the playoffs because of those strategies. I saw, and I'll get back to the Heat Celtics thing for a second, but I wanted to mention this. In his book, they were saying earlier when they were talking about Nurse in the radio, he mentioned about the playoff series with the Sixers in 2019. And how he told his team he told the Raptors how Joel is a great player. He's got amazing footwork. He's got a nice stroke, this, that, and the third, but he plays with emotion. And if we can get in his head in the beginning of a game, he will not be able to catch a rhythm. And if you remember, I think by game 4 or 5, they started blitzing him where they would send 3 guys even running at him. And after they started sending 2 and 3 guys literally running at him to cover him when he got the ball, he went 18 for 49 the rest of the way. And he was
that
spot on
that assessment couldn't be more right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like that, but that's a mind game. He said, okay, we're not going to just square up on you. I know I can get in your mind. And if you remember, those guys, even what, last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, 2 years ago now, in the playoffs, they were trying to beat him up.
Yeah.
And they were being very physical with Joel. And that all goes into what that game plan was, not just from a physical perspective, but from a mental and emotional perspective. It was like Rivers called it emotional terrorism in playoffs. They gave Embiid a lot of emotional terrorism over the years.
Absolutely.
Is this
Our boy Duncan had a chance to close it out twice the other night.
dude? That could have been the Duncan game, man. He had multiple chances to make big shots in that game.
He had 2 really, really good looks.
And then not only did he miss those looks, then he kept getting called for fouls, which some of them were a little bit questionable. But he kept getting called for fouls on the other end.
It's crazy to me with the heat that the NBA gets that, I mean, now we can talk Eric Lewis in a minute. Tonight's crew is Scott Foster and Tony Brothers.
I know.
That's crazy.
Have you seen the numbers with Scott Foster and the Heat?
And Boston.
Well, so I didn't see Boston, but with the Heat are 2-13 in their last 15 games where he's the ref. They're 3-12 against the spread. Huh. Now tonight is so far going against that, but how do you even, as an NBA, as a league, like how do you allow that to even happen? Where you had those guys in that spot.
Yeah, and now the public's bringing it to light. Like they're going to have to do something about this.
It's a joke. This league is so corrupted with these officials.
What do you corrupt? Al, you wanted to touch on Eric Lewis in that situation there?
This is unbelievable to me. So Eric Lewis, if you're listening and you don't know what's going on with this guy, this jackass, him and his whole family are known Boston Celtics fans. But it came out that the internet found that he has a Twitter burner. Just like the Colangelo did.
He reffed game 7 of Sixers Celtics.
Right.
He was on the staff that refereed that game that night.
So he has a Twitter burner account, which is an anonymous account that someone uses to go on, and then they go on and they defend themselves from against trolls and this, that, and the other. The insecurity, ego, and pride that he has to have to be a referee for the greatest basketball organization in the world, a multi-mega million-dollar entity, and feel like he has to defend himself with a burner is wild. And here's what gets me. If he's doing that shit and letting trolls live rent-free in his head off the court, then he's making shit calls on the court because a fan yelled that he sucks or whatever other vendettas that he holds.
Or even a player.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. Like, it's an embarrassment that the league continues to call on him and guys like Scott Foster ref the most important games of the season when it's now public knowledge at this point how biased they are towards certain teams, Boston being one of them.
I don't even think it's teams as much as it is players.
It's both. I mean, the numbers don't lie. The fans are digging up these numbers. Yep. Where teams are, I think it was Boston was like 10-0 in their last 10 or something straight up when both of them ref. Like, that's not a coincidence. And this is a league that still lives in the shadow of Tim Dunne.
Everybody on the internet already thinks the NFL and the NBA are rigged. So that doesn't help the cause.
And it just kills them that Tim Dunne did it and showed them how to do it. And it's like, it can be done, and it can be done easily.
He talked to Foster all the time.
Yep. It's crazy.
And he's still got a job.
Absolutely.
Problem.
Let's close with this. As a Sixers fan, would you have rather seen Boston lose game 4 and get swept out, or potentially win 3 in a row and lose game 7 at home? What is the better outcome as a Sixers fan to see?
Say it again, Seltzer. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Would you rather, as a Sixers fan, seen Boston lose game 4 and get swept, or make this comeback and lose game 7 at home? What's more satisfying as a Sixers fan?
Making the comeback and then losing game 7 is what happened to the Miami fans in that last 8 seconds of the game in game 6, where they were so ecstatic after the Jimmy Butler free throws, and then they got their hearts absolutely ripped out. So it gave them the hope and then ripped it away, which is what would happen if Boston loses game 7 tonight. But as a Sixers fan, I wanted them to get swept.
Me
Yeah,
too.
but see, there's no heartbreak in a sweep, Al.
Oh, sure,
There's
there's a lot of heart. There's disgust. There's all kinds of shit emotion that
Yeah,
comes.
heartbreak may not. You might be right. There's no heartbreak, but there's a lot of other stuff.
There could be disappointment. There's no
Right.
heartbreak.
But the
Heartbreak
damage
is
that
in-
would have been done to that team.
Heartbreak is in looking at history in the face and not being able to get it done at home. That's, to me, that's heartbreak. I'd rather see them lose tonight. Boston's too good to let them just come in here and run them out their own gym. I think even if Miami wins, it's going to be a close finish.
Well, they're already
I
making.
think
They're making
it's-
a run now as they cut it to 8.
Yeah, they're too good for that. But to me, yeah, these guys losing at home again in a game 7 to me would be to an 8 seed at that. Would be more gratifying personally. Plus, it takes away a little bit from the Sixers what they did if they just got out of the series against us and then just got swept. That makes us feel even worse than we already felt like, because it was like
Hard to do.
yeah.
Hard to do.
Also,
Right.
real quick, Al, I know you love the Heat, but I wanted to tell you if they win tonight, that would be, I believe they said, the 7th finals appearance since 2006, which is the most in the NBA. Because you were talking last week about how the disappointment if the Heat don't. Well, what did you say about if they didn't
I said,
advance to
do they have to win the title this year to legitimize this run? Which you guys keep on saying, you guys keep on going further back than when Jimmy Butler was on the team. I'm saying the Jimmy Butler led Heat. Does he have to win a title to legitimize his run and the Miami Heat's run?
I mean, I still feel like, again, being an 8, that goes out. This is all house money when you're an 8 seed. Now, if they were a 2 or a 3, and then I could see what you're saying that. But to me,
If they were to make history in the wrong way tonight and lose games,
well, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I think that really sets this whole story back. I mean, it's
well. So who has more to lose tonight? Tatum's legacy or Butler's legacy?
At the end of the day, it's still Boston has more to lose. I mean, they're a legitimate NBA title contender from day 1 this season.
So what I'm saying, though, so you're saying it's more of a detriment to Tatum and his legacy versus Jimmy's?
Yes.
Because it's still Tatum is supposed to be here. He's supposed to do this. He's supposed to win a ring. And Jimmy, it's still like almost like feel good story, sneaking up on teams and picking them off in the playoffs. And Jimmy,
but nobody's
that.
I will say, though, he's like the poster child in the NBA for mental toughness, and for a guy like him to lead a team up 3-0 and then lose a series, that's.
But realistically, again,
that's not a good
I
look.
want to do this. I said it hypothetically. I was just throwing a number out there. If you had to name the top 8 players in the series, go ahead. Name the top 8 guys in the series. How many are you taking from Miami?
In the top 8?
Yeah, we don't have to name, like, you don't have to go in order. Tatum is obviously on the list.
Tatum.
Jaylen Brown's on the list. Jimmy Butler's on the list. Bam is on the list. So that's 4 right there. So who are the next 4 best players in the series? Is it Smart?
I'll tell you what, you got to give Caleb Martin his flowers, man.
Let's see, but here's the thing.
For the series.
The problem with this question is hindsight. If you were to ask this question before the series started,
right?
Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent probably don't make it, but today they do.
Right, because the way they're playing. But I'm saying overall, Smart, White, Brogdon, Horford, Robert Williams.
Listen, Derek White is the most underrated dude on this team.
Who?
Derek White.
Yeah, he's very good.
He killed us a couple times during the season.
He didn't have a great series against us, but
but I'm saying during the season he killed. Like, there were games where we had Tatum in check and he would go off for 25.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's a quiet killer, man.
Really good defensive player too.
Yeah, that too. Yep. Very underrated defensive player.
Let's close with this because I just looked it up. Finals start on Thursday. Give me your finals prediction, both if the Celtics win and if the Miami Heat win. I can start since I just threw it at you without any preparation. I'll go Nuggets in 6 over Boston. I'll go Nuggets in 5 over Miami.
I'll say Nuggets in 6 also over Boston. And I'll say Nuggets in 7 over Miami.
I mean, I've been holding true that I think that the East winner is going to win the chip. So I think either one of these teams, I know I'm very much in the minority, but I think either one of these teams, whoever wins, is going to beat the Nuggets. I'd say in, well, who has the home court for Boston, Denver? Because Denver was a higher seed, weren't they?
No, I think it's Boston because I think the Sixers
Overall
had
record?
home court over Denver.
So they must go over overall record then over a seed.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Overall, yeah, Denver had 53 wins, Boston had 57.
Yeah, so I would take Boston in 6, and I would take Miami in 7.
I wouldn't put any money on my picks. I
Nor
have
mine.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea who would win those.
Total disclaimer: do not put money on any of these picks at your own risk.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we'll wrap up segment 2 and segment 3. We're gonna have to defend the throne again. These guys are coming for my belt as draft champion. So stay tuned and we'll find out exactly what we're going to be selecting in segment 3. Welcome back to segment 3. I mentioned in the intro that Saturday was one of my favorite days of the year based on a past draft. And we talked about, I'm sure a lot of you have been to barbecues or parties this weekend. Graduation parties are right around the corner as well. We talked about the things that are necessary for a summer barbecue. And that's where we're going to take our list starting now. I'm putting my belt, as for those of you who were not following us on Instagram, I did take the throne for another draft last week in the TV theme songs.
Can we talk about this? Because
you came in last.
If you're listening, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Are we getting the Celtics family voting all over?
No, it's not. It's not.
This has become a popularity contest on Instagram. And primarily all of our followers are Seltzers and DeBones. We've talked about this before. All right. Something needs to change. There needs to be.
You're grasping for straws.
There's some Eric Lewis's going on out here.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Dude, it's the ghost of Tupac changes. It's like the Billy Goat curse for you.
Yes. I got to screenshot the votes. It's A Celts 1, Age Celts, Adrian DeBone, Pete DeBone, Liam.
Hey, I saw somebody like my Sesame Street pick, so I'm happy with that. I'll take that as a win.
Listen, the game is the game.
All jokes aside, we appreciate anybody that listens. So
I don't. I don't.
There was a lot of people that I didn't know who voted for me, and it was a landslide victory.
But wait a minute. Let's go ahead and say it. The real winner was Guest, because who voted for Guest?
Mark Saber,
our boy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
Mark, if you're listening, man, we appreciate all the feedback.
I thought that Al won it, to be honest with you. I thought I would have taken Al if pulling myself out of the equation, I would have probably picked Al's list.
Chris, I had a certain demographic of music that maybe just didn't hit with the listeners. I don't know.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. We picked our order. It's going to be me first, Chris second, and Al third. These do not necessarily have to be foods. You can go beverages, you go activities, you can go whatever you want, but these are the necessary items at a barbecue. And I'm going to open it up with the chalk.
Well, wait, we all have a grill. We all have a grill.
We all have a grill.
Draft the grill.
And we have good weather. That was determined. Although that was argued vehemently by me and Chris to not be drafted. But it's a sunny day, 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. But my wife and I have been invited to a holiday barbecue for the past few years that we've attended. And for the sake of, I don't know if they listen to this or not, but we've gone to this barbecue and they have not had burgers. They just put together these meatballs and all this other random food, but they have a barbecue and they don't have burgers.
Oh, please let them be listening, please.
If you are going to host,
you're going to lose votes on these Instagram.
They're not voters. They're not voters. If they're listening, they're not voters. You have to have burgers. You just have to. It's the quintessential food that you're going to have out there. And listen, when I put my list together, Chris hosted a barbecue Saturday night. It was well done. I don't want to insult him if I say anything that he didn't have, but he did a very nice job. There were burgers there. There were burgers. It's a must. It's a lock for 1-1. If you have a barbecue without burgers, don't have a barbecue. It's just done at that point.
Well, unless I will say that, and I agree with you for the most part, but I will say if there is a group of folks that have health issues that they can't have burgers and they have to have whatever vegan patties or whatever the case may be, or turkey burgers.
Then you shouldn't be hosting a barbecue.
Well, but you still gotta live like a brother gotta live.
Yeah, but
you know
there's
what I mean?
still
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, if I have a barbecue with 12 vegetarians, I won't have burgers. But even if you have dietary issues, I still gotta have burgers for the other people.
Oh, well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, there are some people out there, like, it's not a death sentence if you don't eat meat. You gotta still be able to live a life.
You gotta have other food, yes, but you have to have burgers at the barbecue.
Well, that leads me to my pick, which is probably kind of, let's see how you guys react to this. You'll probably say it's piggybacking, but my pick was food variety. That was my pick.
Food variety.
Can I pick that, or is that?
No, you gotta have a food.
But dude, he said burgers. He didn't say anything about anything else.
So what, you're just gonna take the rest of food?
So if you come to the guest house, you can get the veggie patty, you can get a hot dog, you can get a turkey burger. All right,
you're taking
fruit? I got a fruit tray. You can get a fruit tray.
So guest is taking Beyond Meat.
We have the meats and more.
Food.
Beyond Meat.
Guest is taking the Beyond Burger.
Yeah. Dude, listen, we all talked about this already.
Bismack Beyond Burger.
My my draft board is non-existent right now on this, so it's kind of off the cuff, but that's what I'm gonna stick with. Beyond Meat, Beyond Beef.
You're taking vegan.
Beyond Burgers. I'm gonna Impossible Burgers. What you want? You got a sesame allergy. We got non-sesame seed buns.
Oh man,
what do you want us to put for that pick? You can't do variety because we all got to draft different shit.
He took Beyond Meat. He took vegan meat.
No, I'm saying variety of Beyond, like just.
Well, what's your number one food outside of burgers? That's what you should pick.
Well, you got to go to hot dog.
Okay,
but the hot dog can be a chicken or pork dog.
You can't just take food variety. That's fine. He takes the hot dog. I think the hot dog's overrated.
The hot dog was about to drop right into my lap.
You wanted the hot dog?
The hot dog is like a LeBron in barbecue.
Yeah, dude. Hot dog is above the burger.
I feel like if you have an adults only barbecue, a hot dog is not necessary. If you have kids, the hot dog is important.
No, the hot dog it's the ease of which you can eat the food too.
And you could do so many things to it. You don't have to have it on the bun. You can cut it up, make it like a little hors d'oeuvre kind of thing.
It's so much easier to cook.
I guess
quicker to cook.
I understand all those points. And if there's a hot dog there that's sitting there waiting for me, they'd be like, who wants this? I'll gladly take it. But when the guy comes out like you did, Chris, on Saturday, and we're like, who wants a burger? The hands go up. And then you go, who wants a hot dog? The hands don't go up.
Yeah, the hot dog was not a hit on Saturday. It was not.
That's bullshit.
I agree, bro. I ate all the hot dogs.
Every barbecue I've ever been to, there's burgers and there's dogs. You get one of each.
100%. That's the school I come from too. But it wasn't a hit. They didn't want the hot dog.
It's crazy that you guys are going to come at me as the draft champion and try and I'm clearly speaking for the hot dog is peasant.
We know the picks don't matter. It's like, whose side is it anyway? None of this matters. The points don't matter. Adam wins. It doesn't matter.
All right, 1-2. The hot dog's off the board.
Oh, that's bogus, dude. I was gonna get a steal the draft with the hot dog at 3.
The hot dog would have been the Embiid going third in the 14 draft.
It would have been. Let's talk real quick. I mean, hot dog. First of all, I'm only eating a hot dog in 3 places, but they're all the most elite.
Hey, wait, can we guess? You're gonna say barbecue?
Yeah.
Golf course?
Yeah.
Ballpark?
Yeah. Elite.
It's been revealed, fans.
No surprises there. All right. So then with my pick, I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna similar to Chris. Do I have to take a specific alcohol?
Like are you talking like a hard liquor, or are you talking
like if can I just take alcohol?
No. Especially if you're gonna say a beer, you damn sure can't pick just beer.
Wait,
You gotta put the name on it.
I
That's
think if
the
you, I think if you
brand
want to
of-
go, I think if you want to go beer, you could just say beer. But if you want to go liquor, there has to be.
Okay.
I'm saying like Al, if you like a beer specifically, if I said to you, yo, come over to crib, what should I bring? Oh, bring some beer. What beer would you bring?
No, but wait a minute. I don't have to sit here and just take like Heineken. Like I can take beer.
Yeah, I agree. Beer's fine,
Well, if you
but
took
that
a,
doesn't. But that
if you
doesn't
took a
exclude like seltzers or liquor.
Well,
Or drink beer.
guess what? I know that the only way I can win this thing is by having seltzer on my list and in my name. So guess what? I'm taking my 2 picks. I'm taking beer and I'm taking seltzers. I got both.
and someone's gonna read this, someone's gonna read the results too fast and pick yours because they see seltzer in it.
Guess I'm trying to confuse them. I know that this is my only chance now at this point.
Throwing curveballs out here.
I've got all-encompassing alcohol. I got all the beers in one cooler, and I got all the seltzers in the other. So
There
if
you
you
go.
want a stateside, or if you want a high noon, or if you want a Bud Light, or you want a Heineken, it's all there for you.
We just got some what was
All
the
right.
seltzer? I don't well, I know you're not a heavy drinker, but we got orange cream pop
Oh, Vizzy.
spiked seltzers, and it was like what's the brand? It starts with a V.
Yes, I just said it twice. It's called Vizzy.
Is that what it
Like,
is?
no, it's not.
Yes, it is. I just had one today on the golf course.
Was it like an orange label?
Yes,
Or like
yes. It tastes like it tastes like you bit an orange creamsicle and then drank some club soda.
yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
when
called
we-
pretty good.
When we
You
were
guys know why.
in, maybe this may have been before Seattle. One of our go-to drinks was the whipped vodka with orange soda. Very similar.
the orange creamsicle.
But the Pinnacle?
Yeah, the Pinnacle whipped with orange soda.
Yeah, but the Pinnacle to me, a Pinnacle is like the Young Bull vodka.
Yeah, when we were 24.
Yeah,
so
that's you gotta put some kind of crazy flavor on it to be able to drink it.
The barbecue beer is an elite beer. It's an elite hot dog and it's an elite beer.
So you posted a while back the top beers. I think the barbecue beer may be number one.
I'm a big fan of the post lawn mowing beer. Big fan of that beer.
Dude, post anything lawn mowing is like that's such an accomplishment and a feat when it's like 100 degrees out and you're soaked.
Yep, dude, it's so like nourishing somehow.
Yeah, it's so emotionally fulfilling when you can just be done that for the week and then be able to chill out.
Yeah, when you look at the lawn and be like, that looks good. That's
Yeah.
Stand there, you admire your work. You're all dirty and sweaty. And you're just drinking an ice cold beer. Real quick, the beach beer, and then a lot of people the airport beer.
Nah, I'm not a big drinker, but I was never an airport beer guy.
Before a trip, a lot of people like
I'm
that.
too anxious to get before I get on planes to eat or drink anything.
That's why
Yeah.
that's why you drink a beer. Take the edge off.
Yeah, then I'll having the squirts on the plane. All right, so I'm gonna go.
Is that the snakes in the plane sequel? I'm tired of these mother effing squirts on this mother effing plane.
Dude, that'd be a brilliant commercial actually for like Pepto.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Pepto, sign that check. All right, so I'm gonna. This pick's also gonna not be popular, but while we're at it, you said that we all have a grill. You didn't say what kind of grill. So I'm going with the gas grill because if you have the charcoal grill, you might like the gas grill is elite because it's quicker. I think the grill itself is a little bit of a cleaner grill. The charcoal grill, you got a lot going on.
I don't think you need to take this, guest.
Huh?
Like you can just have whatever grill you want, dude. We'll give you
I'm put a propane
This train
grill
is off the rails.
We'll give you the gas grill.
Maybe even make a skillet on there instead of the.
I thought you were going to say that the black top. That's like popular these days. That black top grill.
Yeah, you can put a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, you could do anything on that thing, especially like a long one.
Yeah.
One of our friends has one of those, and I had like last summer we were over there, and I had like 12 burgers at one time, just flipping it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, you're basically a line cook when you have that thing. You can put everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so it's to me at the turn, and Chris, something that you let get away, buddy.
What I do?
Bathroom away from the grill.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I was just say that wasn't that far from it. That is funny.
Listen, we talked about we don't have to take grills. Chris took the gas grill. There's one thing we haven't talked about is you need to have a quality grill master. You
Sure.
have to. You can't be serving burgers or any other food that hasn't been drafted yet undercooked, or you could also, do it too well done where it loses all its flavor. It's burnt. You got to have one guy or girl manning the grill, knows what they're doing, who can get out the food at the right temperature, also has it coming out at the right time where people aren't sitting there waiting forever. You have to have a grill master who's on top of his stuff. Very, very important.
And I'll say this too. I'll let you in on a little secret. I was nervous Saturday because with the burger specifically, because a lot of pressure with a lot of folks who are present at the barbecue who were carrying other human beings in their person, and
Yeah,
they can't
absolutely.
have anything non-well done. A lot of pressure on that when you're
Yeah, no
when you're
doubt.
the grill master.
You don't want to kill a baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you got to do it. I'm glad I was able to do it. Nobody died or got sick under the
absolutely.
circumstances.
You gotta check those dietary restrictions ahead of time. Make sure you can have that Beyond Meat though. Make sure that's good for the baby.
Dude, the Beyond Beef is a good item, bro. You,
So
you ever had the Impossible Burgers?
I have. I actually have. I tried to go vegan for a little bit a couple years back, and I had an Impossible Burger, and it's actually not bad. I will say that
No.
when you put all the accoutrement on the burger, you can't tell. You really
No.
can't. Once you have the lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever you put on your burger, it's impossible. Hence the name, I guess.
Yep.
Impossible.
And I'll give them credit where it's due. BK has when they first came out with theirs, I was like, I'll try this. I don't really go to that was the last time I've had fast food that was 3 years ago I went. And that was the only time in like 20 years, no joke, that I've had Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy, like any of that for like lunch or dinner foods. And it was pretty good. The Impossible Burger.
Didn't they get sued because like they make the burger though still on the same skillet as the meat patties?
Yeah, cross contamination could happen. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why they always have like that fine print, like in any packaging, like this food was made with at a factory where there was cross contamination of tree nuts, soy, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. But yeah, I could see that happening.
All right, Seltzer.
all right. So we had a Super Bowl party draft in January, and I think I may have taken it or not. We had a discussion about a charcuterie board and how important that was pre-meal to have. Well, that's not as important in the summer months. I think a quality fruit salad is very important to have before the meal comes on board. So I think fruit, including watermelon. I think watermelon's a must as a summer
Woo! Seltzer
fruit.
had a good time at the guest barbecue.
So I think that I'm going to go with fruit salad but it could go be pre or post meal. It could go either way, but it's a must have at a summer barbecue.
So you always and that's an item too where you always 9 times out of 10 at least you're gonna have fruit left over, but you don't mind it because you can pack it away however you want to pack it. It's good for you. You can use it in different various ways, meals, etc., snacks. It's good to have in the house.
Absolutely.
That's the repackaging though is highly dependent on the bug situation.
True.
Well, true, but that's anything now.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't often have a barbecue where I usually it's all or nothing. It's
Well, and the bugs love this. They love the sugar and the
Yeah.
glucose and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's true.
Can I give you guys an update on the Heat Celtics? I know, Chris, you have it on in the background as well.
Yeah, I got it.
Heat around.
Heat about to go up 20 with 7 minutes to go. Jaylen Brown with a Joel Embiid like 15 and 8 on 6 of 19 shooting and 8 turnovers tonight.
Woo!
Maybe his last game as a Celtic.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. They got their own issues.
Let's get back to it. Chris, you're up in the third round here.
So I'm gonna shoot you straight and say I did miss on something on Saturday. Luckily, it didn't come back to bite us. But one thing that's good to have is something that's a bug repellent, the ticky sticks or whatever the case may be.
Hey, Tiki.
Yeah, what?
Tiki.
What did I say?
Tiki.
Tiki, whatever. Tiki tembo. Something that deters the bugs from, our in-laws have a couple of the what do you call them things? The lights, and it always like crackles when the bugs fly into it.
Yeah.
That might be a little inhumane, a little bit.
I got one that attracts them in and then they get stuck. It's like a trap.
Okay.
Like a spider web.
Kind of. It's like, I don't know. It's like, it looks like it's a light. Like it looks like a black light and they're drawn to it.
Right.
It's supposed to get them in the stage like before they mature or something. So it's supposed to kill them before they can really get wild. But I got a creek behind my house.
You gotta have that
here.
then.
Yeah, if you have bug issues, that's Chris. That's a good pick. If you have bug issues, you can't,
Especially with
have bug
kids.
fire on.
With kids too, like anybody got time to spending days, especially like before bed, like trying to get them all squared away, not itching and putting all the lotion on or whatever else that you got to have to give them. Like anybody have time for all that because of the bugs.
Yeah.
They also have. Well, I'll save it because you might use it for another pick, so I won't say it yet.
All right. I got two here, and I already have two drinks. I have beer and seltzer. I think for the next two, I might just go with water and juice and just have
You're gonna squeeze this out.
You're not eating anything at my barbecue, but you're gonna be well hydrated.
Pedialyte.
What I will do here instead of that, I do have to take a food item. Obviously, I'll take that Actually, I'll take that now. I think the third barbecue food item behind burgers and hot dogs has to be the barbecue chicken.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the barbecue chicken here as my food item, which it's versatile. I mean, if you want to get messy, you can get messy if you're making the drumsticks. If you're just doing the thighs or the breast, then, it doesn't have to be messy. And dude, a good barbecue chicken on the grill where it has that char, it can be really delicious. The only problem with the barbecue chicken is it's a sit down. You got to, it doesn't have the same versatility of a hot dog or a hamburger.
You can't be walking around.
No, yeah, you got to really focus on eating the chicken.
Are you talking about are you talking like breast or just any sort of chicken? Like could you put it on a sandwich or are you taking everything?
Oh, well, that's what
like a thigh.
Chicken, like a thigh or a breast or
Okay.
what I said you can get a drumstick, but then you're getting messy. Like you don't necessarily want that. So it's not the ideal food item for a barbecue, but it might be the tastiest of the
No,
food.
yeah, I'm in on the chicken. I had it on my list. It would be my next thing after the hot dog and hamburger. I think you took it right where it probably needs to be taken.
Yeah, I'm assuming I could have gotten that later, but I didn't want you guys to to squeeze me out there with the foods and then end up with nothing. All right. On the comeback, I'm gonna take music. You gotta have music. I'm a big music guy at a barbecue. I just think it fills that empty space. It helps to push a conversation along when you just have that music on in the background. Music makes a good time better. You throw in a good summer barbecue playlist, you get a little Len Steal My Sunshine, you get a little Will Smith, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Summertime, you get a little Mungo Jerry in the summer. A good summertime playlist, it makes the mood all that much better. So I'm going
summertime summertime. You can go 90 days straight with the summertime.
Yeah.
That's just the anthem, dude.
Yeah, you could put on the summertime play. You could put on the yacht rock playlist. There's
that was utilized at the when I went up to Connecticut the other day for our barbecue with the in-laws. The yacht rock.
Yep,
Out in the yard
playlist. So give me music.
Good pick.
Now, would you be willing to pinpoint it and have the pick as yacht rock?
No, because I also need some I need some Rapper's Delight might sneak in there.
Okay.
I need a little bit of everything here.
So maybe legal problems or something like that.
I thought you were going to say, would I want to make a trade? Because the answer to that was going to be no, because I don't want bug repellent or gas grills.
Yo, bug repellent is
crucial.
You can sleep on it now.
It is up there, but as a guy who I've always been a mosquito magnet, bug repellent doesn't do much for me personally.
Really?
It sucks. Me, my daughter Avery, we are bug magnets. I don't know what it is. I know they say it's something to do sometimes with the blood type or with your skin or whatever, but it's tough out here.
All right, Chris, back to you, right? We're at Chris for 2?
No, Chris for 1.
Right.
Gotta have one of these.
Guess
the red cups. What you sipping on? You got to sip on something. So for me, I'm sipping on some Hennessy. So I'm gonna put
Hennessy in the solo.
I'm gonna put some sort of whiskey, a dark whiskey or a cognac. All right, but I will say right now my kick is actually the Ciroc Summer Watermelon Vodka, which is phenomenal.
Right after you mentioned that to me the other week, someone else the next day mentioned that to me.
Really, dude,
Yeah.
it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It goes down smooth, and this bottle is already been used, by the way, from this weekend, so it's only a drop left, but it is highly recommended. It tastes like, I mean, you could drink that. For those that aren't really big straight shooters, you could straight shoot that.
Yeah, I gotta get my hands on that because Ciroc always was the cleanest vodka of the vodkas, at least that I've drank in my lifetime.
Yeah, for me, it's Grey Goose and Ciroc. That's all I buy for vodka. For real, I mean, honestly, it's such a good. They're both such good products, and
Yeah, and
there's so many flavors too now that they have. And in some places now they're selling Ciroc in the flavored Ciroc in long cans.
As a drink, like as a
Yeah, like so they don't have it here yet. I've been trying. I went on the site to try to find the closest location. It's not around here yet, but like they have like Ciroc peach, Ciroc mango. I think it was like different flavors in the can. Ooh, I'm sure that's dangerous.
Wait, so was your pick Hennessy or Ciroc? What do you got here?
Well, so we were saying about like if you're gonna pick a certain drink, then you were just gonna pick a drink. I thought
Liquor. You could pick liquor.
You got liquor in the
yeah.
solo. You got liquor in the red solo cup.
Yeah.
Liquor with a cup.
Two chicks, one cup.
All right, you got it.
That could be two picks, I guess.
All right, so my last two picks, where I'll seal it off. My first one is going to be a quality backyard, and I'm not a big. I was going to go. There's specific games you have. You can go bago, you can go beer pong. I'm not a big like backyard game guy, but especially if there's kids, you got the kids go off and play a little wiffle ball.
Right.
Throw the football around. If you have a lot of people, it's always good to have a decent amount of space. So a quality backyard is going to be up on my list just for the setting of the barbecue.
I had wiffle ball and bocce ready to go, but I didn't between like.
I think if you want to still take a game like that, you can. It's still on the board.
Well, no, I'm saying as far as like in real life, last week.
Oh, gotcha.
But I didn't think that by the time we ate and everything, it was kind of getting dark, and it was like, because you got to have the lighting for it too, especially if you have a big yard and it's getting late. You got to have that lighting.
Wiffle ball's a little. That's a big ask at this age. After you've eaten too.
I'm talking about for the kids though. The kids love the wiffle ball.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying for a guest at your party, that would have been.
That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it would have been me and Seltzer and Ian playing like we were like
home run derby.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to chase the balls at this age.
Right, and then they get hit over a fence. I got to go around in the neighbor's yard.
You ain't jumping it.
Guess you used to pattern your batting stance after Jeff Bagwell, who was your favorite player at the time. Do you now pattern after Nicky Batts?
Well, no. Now let me correct that.
No.
Ken Griffey Jr. has always been my favorite baseball player. However, I've modeled my stance after Jeff Bagwell, who was my second favorite player. But no, Nicky Batts is not the. That's not the batting form that I'm taking at this time.
All right. Had to check.
I know how to lay off those outside pitches.
So for my last pick, again, I didn't do a ton of prep for this one. So this is going to be a little bit of.
I hope somebody's documenting these because I have no idea what I picked.
I saw Al typing.
I got him.
This is not a great pick in the 5th round, and this ruined it for me. So be it. But listen, there was a day years ago when ketchup and mustard were the only things that you would put on a hot dog or put on a hamburger. Nowadays, we have palates that are more refined. You need to have a variety of condiments. You need to have the barbecue sauce. You need to have the honey mustard. You got to have the pickles. You got to have, maybe an A1 steak sauce if you got something going on out there.
Multiple types of pickles.
You got to have a variety of condiments for the people, not just ketchup, and mustard. That's not acceptable anymore at this stage where we are.
I also ready to wheel out, aside from bocce, I was ready to wheel out the soy vegan mayonnaise.
Yeah. Listen, everybody's got different taste. Relish. Some people like relish, or I don't want to say sauerkraut, but some people like sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut's it. I couldn't be more out on sauerkraut.
Yeah, same.
So listen, let me ask you this: if this is a violation, I went to the Phillies game for work. We had clients. We used to clients the business person special against Arizona last week, and we were in a suite where they lay out all the food beforehand. Dude, they put the hot dogs in the sauerkraut before, like it was in a bin, and the hot dogs were laying in the sauerkraut.
No, that's a huge violation.
Yeah,
what if you had
big
an
time.
allergy? Anything.
And like sauerkraut, that's not like serving a burger with lettuce, tomato, onion. The sauerkraut is not a universally liked food.
Correct.
No.
And then when you had the dog, even if you took the sauerkraut off, it's got the remnants on the dog.
Yeah, it's a huge. I couldn't eat a hot dog. I didn't want to do it.
That's a huge violation.
Yeah,
that's a complainable violation.
And there was 2 separate bins, and they did both of them. Like one thing you want to do it in one and not do it in the other. That's fine. It was. I was disturbed.
Where was this from? Where was this hot dog from?
It was at the Phillies suite, in a suite at the Phillies game.
I don't know about that. That might have been like asked for ahead of time or something by the suite owner. You gotta check. That's a weird thing. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Yeah, it was strange, man. But all right, I just wanted to get your make sure I wasn't completely off base. And
real quick, if you don't put a pickle on your burger, oh man, that's a lovely addition to a burger.
I like pickles, but I'm not a pickle on my sandwich guy. I'm a big side pickle guy.
I'm both, but the pickle on the burger is exquisite.
So Al, do you do the sweet pickle or the dill pickle?
I do the dill. I like the crunchy sourness of a dill.
Yeah, see, I like the sweetness.
You like the gherkin.
Yeah.
Gherkin.
What do they call them? Like the bread and butter?
I'm not a big fan of those.
I like the bread and butter. I like all pickles.
Are you a Vlasic or a Clausen guy?
Oh, Jimmy Clausen.
I would go Vlasic over Clausen.
I'm a Clausen guy.
I don't really like. I'm not big in the pickle game like that, to be honest. So I just go with whatever the wife brings home. But
the bigger question is, what's your preferred shape of pickle? Are you a spear? Are you a dildo shaped dip, or are you a chip?
Dildo shapes. All right, drop that beat.
You know what I'm talking about? The big Jewish pickle.
Damn, dude.
Hey, I ain't never no fan of no dildo pickle.
Oh man, I like the spear. I like the spear, and I also like the sandwich cut. But
the chips.
But the Jewish pickle that you can get like in a deli, you just pull it out of the barrel.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's an elite pickle, dude.
What? Well, they got the sandwich pickle, the long oval one. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I like this. I like the old school circular, like chip ripples looking.
Yeah, the chips, the little ones.
Yeah, I like those. But they're not really ideal for a sandwich because you bite it and they fall out the back. The whole thing goes like.
Well, what do you put in your sandwich then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't really eat pickles that often, but when I do, I like to have like. I don't mind that, but I know a lot. I'm probably again in the minority for it. You would probably rather have a sandwich pickle on your sandwich.
Yeah. Where are we at on fried pickles?
I was just gonna say that, man. A fried pickle is delightful as well with that like spicy mayo.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. Very good addition to the American cuisine, the fried pickle.
I mean, you could put anything in. You could fry anything. And it makes it. I mean, you fry like literally anything.
The fried Oreo is elite.
That is an elite.
I was late to the game on the fried Oreo. I didn't have my first one until I was at the Preakness for Chris Cerule's bachelor party. Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
It will change. It is a life-changing experience when you get a good fried Oreo.
Here's one you guys might not have had, the fried Reese's cup.
Have not had that.
Fried Reese's cup is also elite. There are some elite fried foods now these days that exist.
Yeah. We had them at the oh my God, I'm going blank. Iron Pigs. Iron Pigs game. They have all that rando minor league baseball game food, and that's one of the things they had. Have you ever brought the family to an Iron Pigs game?
No, we go down to the Blue Rocks in Delaware.
Oh, okay, but you've been to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
The Iron Pigs do a great job. It's really affordable. like not just the tickets, but the food also. And they have a good variety for being, as a minor league venue. Like they have a lot of different things to eat and everything like that, like different variety of stuff. But I
The
would
Blue
highly
Rock,
recommend it. It's a good experience.
the Blue Rocks is great. There's not a variety of food, but for like $10, you're literally the first seat behind home plate.
Yeah.
And they do all kinds of different things. Like they let the kids go on the field and have a catch before the game and this, that, and the other. It's a good experience. I took Jackson and Avery the one time, and this was after I'd taken them to a number of Phillies games. And Jackson goes, "Thanks for finally taking me to a real baseball game." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But it's because of how close we were. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
actually able to see
Yeah.
and hear everything.
Yeah, minor league baseball is a fun time.
Yeah, it's great. It's great family fun too.
Yeah, 100%. Now we're this summer we're trying to go to a Cape Cod game.
Okay.
So apparently, the Cape Cod League, it's independent, but it's like the most beautiful, amazing fields to watch a game, and it's free.
Probably a nice backdrop.
Yeah. So take the wife up there, have a little romantic evening. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. A little whining and dining.
Yeah. Have some soy-free mayonnaise ready to go.
And some of Seltzer's pickles. Bring
Some of the pickles. Bring some Ciroc with us. You know what I mean?
All right, yes, you're on for your last pick here.
We're still in this. Dude,
Well, guest is thinking I'm sure on Seltzer's TV it's probably over already, but
Yeah, 30 seconds left. Miami's up 19.
ding dong, the witch is dead.
Crazy performance. Caleb Martin again. I was just 26 and 10 from Caleb Martin tonight.
Kid can play, man.
Butler.
He's not a free agent, is he?
No, I don't.
He is about to get paid.
Yeah, big time if he is.
Oh, I'm so happy. That makes my heart happy.
Good for
Seeing them knock the Celtics out.
Yeah, in Boston.
He will be what year is this?
23.
No, he's under contract next year, and then he has a player option the year after that, which I would imagine he opts out of. So now he has one more year with Miami.
I got a Gary Payton Miami Heat jersey. I'll probably wear it to work tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Denver hat.
Wow.
All right, let's get these picks in.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, dude. I like I said,
there's a couple things out there.
Food.
I might have to pass. I may have to pass. The first ever 3 of the Keystone Draft pass, folks.
The listeners out there, guess only wanted 3 rounds, so I guess that was a foreshadowing of what was going to happen.
Dude,
what about I don't want to say stuff that Al's going to say. So
just take anything. He's not going to take my pick. Say anything.
What about corn on the cob?
Yeah, dude. Yo, Mexican.
I didn't get to that the other night. I apologize. It was in the fridge. I didn't get to it.
There you go. You got it, Guess. You got corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. Nobody has a problem with corn on the cob. It's a universal food, I feel like.
Well, during the summer, if it's like November and you're like, oh, I'm having corn on the cob, I'm not in.
Well, it's not in season. It's only in season.
But I'm saying though, like it's got outside in the summertime for a barbecue specifically, I'm in on it. But any other time, I'm not a fan of corn.
Really? Have you ever the Mexican street corn is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I made a custom one last year. I did parm cheese, butter, Old Bay seasoning, and I forget what else I rubbed on there, but it was phenomenal. I wish I wrote it down so I remember.
You could, all jokes aside, you could put that vegan mayo on there.
Yeah, that'll work. Dude, I'm telling you, it's good.
With the Old Bay and the kosher salt, a little black pepper.
Yeah. It's that I hate, but I'm telling you, man, that vegan mayonnaise is on point. Not the Hellman's one though. The Hellman's one is a little painty. Tastes a little like paint. But if you do the what the hell is that brand? It's like fun, like our some sort of like fun vegan name that they had for it that they sell at Wegmans. But I'll have to get it for next week. But that's really good. I dip veggie chips in it, and Sarah like gets nauseous when she watches me do it.
All right, let me
Hold on,
wrap it up.
Al, before you wrap it up, I just have one more tweet. We can rub it in the Boston sports fans' face since we all suck at sports. John Hollinger's tweet. Boston becomes the first city to lose a home game 7 to an 8 seed in both hockey and basketball in the same season.
Oh, so good.
Okay. Go ahead, Al. Finish it off.
The safe pick here, I think, would probably be a pasta salad. Like a nice, good pasta salad at a barbecue is pretty much a must.
Right.
But Adam, you mentioned it earlier, and it's my favorite yard game to play. I'm gonna take Bago, aka cornhole here. I love, especially on a nice day, you need something to do, and that's a game that adults and kids alike can enjoy. So I'm gonna take Bago because, personally speaking, I need it. I need it at my barbecue.
I'm not a big Bago guy, but I respect it.
If those games just bore me, they're too long.
Nah,
I mean they're only long. You can control the rules. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm just not into the yard games. I can't. I never have been. I got into what's the frisbee one of Can Jam for a little bit, long time ago.
I'll play any like I mean horseshoes, Can Jam, Bago, Bocce.
We had a Bago tournament at work like last week as like our summer kickoff. I couldn't have been more happy that we got eliminated in the first round.
You could do the table games. You could do beer pong. You could do flip cup.
Yeah,
I found I was an all-star flip cupper at the Phillies game last weekend.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think that was the first time I ever played it, and I was nervous because we were playing with people we didn't know. Like you know how it is when you're tailgating, and so I'm the last guy. Flipped it first flip, good. Drank, played another one. Next first flip again, good. I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm going out on top.
2-0, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
Did you use two hands? Or did you just use one hand? Like you drank with the same hand and then you flipped, and the other hand was never even in play.
Yeah, so I did being left hand. I drank my left hand, put it down, flipped it with my left hand.
Yeah, to me, it's infuriating when someone does that and they miss, and then they're only using their one hand. it takes so long. Like just use
two hands.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
All right, let me recap here for the listeners. Seltzer had the first pick. His 5 picks were burgers, a quality grill master, fruit salad, a quality backyard, and condiments.
Condoms too, depending on the party. You never know. Hey,
guessed at the second pick. He had hot dogs, a gas grill, even though we all agreed that we all would get a grill.
You said a grill, so I'm giving clarity.
Bug repellent, liquor with a cup, and pass. But we forced
corn.
I did
let's take corn on the cob.
And for the record, the cup was just an accessory, but the pick itself was the liquor.
All right, well, you get the cup too. We'll give you
can be hood and drink it out and take the bottle to the head if you want. I mean,
liquor with the cup, and/or brown bag. That's what you get.
Yeah, there you go. I'll take the brown.
And then I had the third pick, and my picks were beer, seltzer, barbecue chicken, music, and Bago, aka cornhole.
Can you just make an edit on mine? I know you're going to try and tarnish it, but condiments beyond ketchup and mustard for me.
Oh my! See, this is Chris. We need to have a ruling on this too. The dude needs a paragraph for all his picks to explain.
He'll get the votes.
Yeah,
you'll still get the votes.
I'll get what I need.
I'm just gonna put all condiments.
It's fine, including dildo pickles.
Look, you can see Adam, like he's been on his phone the last 5 minutes texting everybody. Yo, Al's gonna put the picks up any second.
You guys vote.
Get on Instagram.
Listen, man. I understand it's starting to get frustrating, so I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. But congrats out to the Miami Heat as they will take on the Denver Nuggets on Thursday night in Game 1. Truly a Cinderella story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a giant FU to all the Boston fans out there.
So, Adam, you and I have Denver, and Chris, you have Miami, right?
Yep. And it's a good thing that Elon Musk paid for those flights already because they cashed in.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. Actually, and Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin just probably the MVP of the series, to be honest with you, even more so than Jimmy. maybe not MVP, but they don't win that series without either of them. So
They don't win that series without Eric Spoelstra.
that as well. You're right about that.
And Jorge Lozano.
And the rest of the X-rate staff and the equipment managers, etc. But we'll be back, gents, coming up on episode 50 soon. Got a couple weeks to go, and maybe we have to put something special together for that. But until then, let's drop that beat.